Bruce raised his eyebrows slightly, with a casual look on his face. But deep down, his heart was filled with such a rage that he wanted to kill everyone right now. Sean tugged his suit and said impatiently, "Joanne, if you sign it, I will let you be the chairwoman. However, I must warn you that I don't think you can fulfill that promise. By then, you'll lose everything and bring more shame to the whole Haynes family. Then, that time comes, I will cut off from you as well. Of course, if you give up the shares right now, you are still my beloved daughter. And as your father, I will definitely treat you well." Everyone knew what Sean was implying. He was threatening Joanna. If Joanna was determined to replace him, then the father-daughter relationship had come to an end. Joanna felt a chill rising within for no reason. First, it was the obstruct from her ex-husband, and now, her own father started moral blackmailing her as well. This was definitely a tough moment. "Fine, I'll sign it. However, I have a request. I need all shareholders to be absolutely cooperative with my work." Mr. Paul and Mr. Roger nodded enthusiastically. "Of course, you are the biggest shareholder anyway. Of course, we'll listen to you." Bruce sneered. "Well, it seemed that at least you've got balls. Alright, I'm going now that the meeting is over. Tomorrow, I'll have my lawyer send over the bet-on agreement." Then Bruce stood up and walked out of the room, leaving everyone else behind as if he was the boss here. In his mind, he had sentenced Joanna to be punished. "Since you bite off more than you can chew, I'll make you choke," Bruce thought. Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul also stood up and shook hands with Joanna. "We believe in you, Ms. Haynes. We expect you to lead the ads by Pub Future Haynes Group to another level." Joanna smiled. "I hope we all find working together enjoyable." Ignoring Joanna's words, Sean just snorted and walked out of the conference room in anger. Downstairs in the lobby, Ingrid and her two sons noticed Sean come out with a sullen face, and they hurried over. "Honey, how's it going?" asked Ingrid. Sean heaved a long sigh. "Forget about it. Let's go home first." Ingrid caught up with him hastily, worried as hell. She asked, "So how did the meeting go? Joanna still won't give up her shares. This wretched girl not only refuses to give up her shares, but she wants to kick all of us out. I've already been fired by her." Sean sputtered, taking his inhaler from his pocket and spraying it down his throat. Joanna might be his daughter, but deep down, this man never took her as his family. "What a bad woman," said Derek through his gritted teeth. "Dad, you're not really going to let Joanna replace you, are you? So what if I don't agree? She took it from me anyway. She's just determined to be the chairwoman." Ryan was also indignant and said, "Who the hell does she think she is? Oh, we can't just watch her taking everything away while doing nothing. The Haynes Group belongs to us. Why should she take it? Yeah, we'll sue her for stealing our things if we have no other ways." Sean sighed again. "She has your grandfather's will. So there's no point in going to court. Who would have thought that she would have hired all 4 top lawyers in Greenport? With them watching over the will, we will lose for sure. You just need to know that she's now the chairwoman, and that's final." But then again, although they had lost control of the Haynes Group, the Haynes family would not go down because of this. That was because, except for the Haynes Group, they still got dozens of other properties and estates. And in a bustling city like Greenport, that meant tons of gold. They also owned a whole office building, let alone their deposits in their private accounts. Even if they decided to slack off for the rest of their lives, that was far from enough for all of them to live comfortable lives. However, who would say no to more money? Money. The more of the green bills, the better. Ingrid was now furious. She even started panting angrily like a cartoon character due to her rage. "Joanna's gone too far. No, I won't endure this while doing nothing. The Haynes Group is ours, and I will never allow an outsider to take it away." Chapter 11. As she was saying, Joanna, Mr. Roger, Mr. Paul, and the others came out of the elevator. Ingrid saw Joanna, and she rushed up to her at once. "Joanne, how could you be so vicious? You kicked your own father out of the company. How can you be so ungrateful to your family?" Ingrid was shouting fiercely as she tried to seize Joanna. Joanna's security caught her immediately and warned her, "Mom, Please, you are making a scene. I own this company. I'll make scenes whenever I like. So shut your mouth. Now, speak to me, Joanna Haynes. You're shameless. Thing. You seduced Roxy's fiancé years ago. And now you came back to steal the company from us. You're so shameless. And you deserve to be thrown out by the Everetts. Joanna's face darkened, and she said, calm yourself before I am forced to hurt you, Ingrid. Oh, how dare you threaten me? Do you think I'm gonna sit here and watch you take everything away from me? No way. Ingrid was like a maniac, screaming and yelling in the lobby. At last, Joanna decided to better not waste her time on such a woman, and she ordered her bodyguards to escort her out. Outside the Haynes Tower, there had already gathered numerous reporters. Joanna, please say something. Are you taking over as chairwoman of the Haynes Group today? No interviews today, thank you. Security stopped the reporters so that Joanna could get in the car. Then Ingrid and the others followed Joanna out as well. The reporters surrounded them at once. Mrs. Haynes, can you tell us what has happened? Ingrid took a deep breath and tried to keep her fair lady image in front of the public. She said, what happened is that we, Thay Haynes, have raised an ungrateful girl who has turned her back on all of us today. She even has no mercy even for her own father. Mrs. Haynes, what do you think of Joanna's relationship with Mr. Grimm? Rumor has it that Joanna's bought into Starlight Media. Is it true? It's her private business. You should ask her. Ingrid's face darkened, and she was in no mood for an interview. Stealing men from other women and taking away properties from others. That kind of thing happens a lot. However, you need to see through all these. The Grimm family is a very respectable one. Will they allow a woman like that to marry their heir? Let's wait and see. That, to the press, was a bombshell. As long as it was interesting enough for the public, they didn't care at all if it was the truth or not. Ingrid's not gonna let Joanna steal the thunder from her own daughter. As a matter of fact, this was exactly why Ingrid moved against Joanna 6 years ago. Joanna had been so excellent and eye-catching that Roxanne would never really shine with her around. Mrs. Haynes, when exactly will Roxanne and Mr. Everett's wedding be held? Right, about that, it's been 4 years since the news of their engagement. Why hasn't there been a wedding? Will their relationship be affected by Joanna? How is that possible? Roxy and Mr. Everett have always loved each other deeply. You know, young fellows, they have to go through something first, before their relationship gets stronger. Hence, though there are people who are trying to sabotage things, it won't work out as they expected. Ingrid said sarcastically, not giving any more interviews. Then her bodyguards escorted her back into the car. Not long ago, Ingrid had already bribed several reporters and online celebrities. If everything went well, Joanna was gonna be trending tomorrow. She failed to ruin Joanna completely 6 years ago, but this time, Ingrid would make sure that Joanna would never get back on her feet again. Inside Ingrid's car, Ingrid's chest rose and fell violently due to her fury, and she kept swearing. How could she be so lucky? She has just been, ads by Pub Future, kicked out of the Everett family, but the Grimm family takes her back in. Mom, for the sake of your blood pressure, calm down and drink some water. Roxanne handed over a bottle of water and looked at Ingrid, a little scared. Ingrid took the water from her and shot Roxanne a disappointed look. You were letting us down, Roxy. You've been Mr. Everett's fiancé for years, and you still are. We don't know if you'll be able to marry into the Everett family. Why can't you just learn from me? Roxanne was so upset that her eyebrows were knitted. She wanted to marry Bruce as soon as possible. But if the man never brought this up, it would be improper for her, a lady, to mention it at all. Ingrid poked her daughter in the head and said, You silly girl. You can't even handle a single man. You see how Joanna did. She gave birth to 2 boys without noticing anyone. You should consider getting pregnant as well. Your wedding can't be delayed any longer. Roxanne's face turned scarlet when she heard that. Only because she was so afraid to tell her mother that Bruce had not touched her once up until now. All these years, she had been maintaining the image of an innocent maiden, and she kept telling Bruce that she would have sex with Bruce only after their wedding. It was meant to keep Bruce lured. After all, For men, the harder to get, the more precious it appeared to them. But somehow, as time went by, Bruce seemed to lose all his interest in her. When Roxanne noticed that and hinted to the man that it was okay to be wild sometimes, the man actually replied that he would show his respect to her and never touch her until the wedding night. Mom, Bruce and I, well, Roxanne was at a loss for words. By now, she had finally realized something was wrong with her relationship with Bruce. Since her mother was good with these kinds of things, Roxanne decided to tell her the truth. What's wrong with him? Ingrid asked, staring at her daughter with her eyes wide open. Roxanne bit her lip, feeling so embarrassed. Oh, just spit it out, will you? I'm your mother. You can tell me everything, alright. Well, I'm just trying to tell you that I'm not gonna get pregnant since he has never slept with me. What? Ingrid spat out the mouthful of water that she had just drunk. Are you kidding me right now? It's been 6 years, and you had never slept with him. Not even once. Chapter 12. Mom, you taught me to play hard to get. You said I have to keep them in suspense. Ingrid was so mad that she actually felt a twitch in her liver. She patted herself on the chest while saying angrily, "You are so stupid. I told you to play hard to get, but I didn't tell you to play impossible to get. I just want you to keep him in suspense so that he knows that you're not a cheap whore. That's all. Besides, how much money do you think he has? How many women do you think are trying to hook up with him every day? If you keep this going, who knows if he will go for some other bitches for his needs. Huh? Are you serious? You think you know men better than I do? Say no more, silly girl. I want you to go straight to the man later. I don't care what you do. You must make him sleep with you tonight." Roxanne bit her lip, torn by her thoughts. "But I don't want to hear what follows. But, just listen to your mother and take the initiative. Stop being a medieval maiden." "Mom, what if Bruce says no?" Ingrid's eyes widened. "What do you mean he says no? No man will refuse to get laid." "Oh, you are making me so worried. If you were half as smart as me, you would have become Mrs. Everett long ago. Don't go home with us tonight. I'll have the driver take you straight to the Everett family." "Fine." Ingrid calmed herself down a little, but at the thought of Joanna, the anger rose again. "That Joanna bitch. She's too stupid to mess with me. Don't worry, Mom's here. She'll never take away the title of the Lady of Greyport ever again." Joanna, who had left the Haynes Tower after the meeting, returned to her hotel room exhausted. This was a 6-star hotel. Joanna had a suite here, and she had paid for months. She even hired 3 nannies to look after the children. It was not that she couldn't afford a house. At the moment, the convenience of the hotel was more important to her. "Mommy, you're back." Seeing her at the door, the 2 little boys ran towards her. "Yeah, Mommy's home." Joanna bent down to stroke her son's heads first before putting on the slippers. "And Lilia, how is she?" "Lilia has just woken up." "Okay, Mommy's going to check on her first, alright." Joanna changed her clothes, washed her face and hands, disinfected herself, and then finally went to her daughter's room. "Lilia, Mommy's home." "Mommy." Lilia Haynes was lying in bed, a big, bright smile on her skinny little face. The little girl had been hurt by a congenital heart defect and hemolytic anemia ever since she was born. The hemembas in her body were poorly hematopoietic, so she would need to be transplanted with new hematopoietic stem cells after some time. For more than 3 years, poor Lilia had been lying in bed, unable even to stand up once. Her skin was covered with needle marks and scars. The hospital bills and the cost of follow-up treatments were a heavy burden, and they also pushed Joanna to go forward. Joanna's biggest wish was that her daughter could recover one day, and she could see Lilia standing up. "Lilia, does it still hurt?" Joanna was holding her daughter's thin hand, and her heart was twitching with pain. Whenever Joanna saw her daughter, she would have to try so hard to prevent the tears from welling up in her eyes. Lilia shook her head slightly. "Not anymore." Joanna was chewing her upper lips to fight the great sadness inside. Her daughter had just had a major operation. The kid must pretend to be fine. "Mommy, can I have some chocolates?" Lilia begged weakly. The little girl's mouth was filled with bitterness that was brought by the medicine during the operation. And she would like to eat something sweet. Oh, Lilia, you know you just had your pills. How about this? When you get better, mommy will buy you a whole pack of chocolate. Lilia's eyes glittered with expectation when hearing this. She nodded obediently. But is it okay if I have a look at the chocolate? Ads by Pub Future. Then, I won't eat it. Yes, of course, you can. Joanna put a piece of chocolate in her little girl's hand. I won't eat it, mommy, not until I'm better. It broke Joanna's heart to hear this. Tears finally overcame her and rolled down her cheeks. She knew that her daughter was not lying to her because the little girl was simply too sick to eat anything on her own. Yeah, isn't my Lilia the sweetest? Said Joanna in tears and hurried to stand up. Miranda, please, take good care of Lilia. With that, Joanna could not bear to stay with her daughter any longer. She was at the edge of a breakdown. Miranda, one of the nannies, looked at Joanna sadly. I'll take care of Lilia. But you need to take care of yourself, too, Joanne. I will, thank you. Joanna got out of the daughter's room, stood at the door, and took a deep breath. Then she caught sight of her two sons, sneaking around the laptop. What are you doing? Huh, nothing. Devian and Irwin turned off the laptop at once when hearing their mother's voice. Her sons loved the internet and had spent too much of their time on it. However, Joanna had always been too occupied by her work to watch over these two. Don't stare at the screen for too long. It's bad for your eyes. Yes, mummy, alright, you're smart pants, go wash your hands and get ready for dinner. Right away. The boys slipped down the chairs and snickered as they ran to the bathroom. Oh, my, it's such a nice surprise for that bad guy. I couldn't help imagining his face tomorrow when he sees it. Shush, keep your voice down. We don't want mommy to know any of this. You're right. Humph, that bad guy. How dare he bully mommy? We'll show him what we got. After dinner, Joanna put the kids back in their beds and read them bedtime stories until they were asleep. Then, at last, she could go back to her work. She closed her laptop at 3 o'clock in the morning, and finally, she was ready to have some sleep. Chapter 13. Joanna had only slept 4 hours a day for years. And this kind of lifestyle had made it impossible for her to think of anything else. Morning came soon. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Before Joanna could get up, Jaden blew up her phone. Jai, what are you calling me for at this hour? On the other end of the line, Jaden's worried voice replied, Joanne, have you seen the news? What news? Joanna rubbed her eyes, confused. Check on your cell phone and read the entertainment news. Joanna's heart skipped a beat when she heard this. She had a very bad feeling about this. She remembered how badly she had been roasted 6 years ago. Back then, she was still that innocent girl and even thought about jumping off the roof to end her life. Joanna prayed that it wouldn't happen to her ever again. Joanna shivered and unlocked her phone. In an instant, more than 5 notifications popped up, and they were all about her. After hooking up with her brother-in-law and getting kicked out, Joanna Haynes has moved on to her next victim. The former lady of Greyport fell out with her family for inheritance. Her father was kicked out of the board, and she seized the family business. Joanna Haynes unwed yet pregnant. The father unknown. Over the night, news about Joanna was all over the internet. Joanna clicked one of them open with a trembling finger. And as she feared, the comments below were unbearable. It was like what had happened 6 years ago took place once again. The only difference was that this time, it appeared to be even more fierce. Hello, Joanne. Are you still there? Joanna stared blankly at the comments, feeling happiness and joy sucked out of her all at once. People even brought up her fake news 6 years ago. She didn't dare to scroll down anymore. Joanne, you wait there. I'm coming to you. Jai, listen to me, Joanne, pull yourself together. Don't be afraid. Wait for me, Jaden said, grabbing his car keys and heading downstairs. Joanna didn't answer. She just hung up the phone. Then from the bedside drawer, she took out 2 bottles of pills with her trembling hands. They were antidepressants. Silently, Joanna poured several pills out and swallowed them all at once. She had been suffering from severe depression. From the beginning, she merely had to take 1 or 2 antidepressants for one day. Then it was 5, and now she sometimes Had to take more than a dozen of them to finally calm herself down. Joanne. Hello, Joanne. Jaden was yelling anxiously at his phone. However, it was the beeping sound that replied to him. Jaden, who was worried about Joanna, pocketed his cell phone at once. He stormed down his apartment, jumped into his car, and drove to Joanna's hotel hastily. He and Joanna had known each other abroad since they were both kids. At that time, they were neighbors. Jaden was 4 years older than Joanna, but that did not stop the seed of romance from growing inside of the lad's heart. Later, Jaden went back to their homeland for education. What he didn't expect was that Joanna followed him back not long after that, and they were actually in the same school. Joanna was not a nerd, but she was indeed very good at studying. By the age of 16, she was a university student already. And that made the two of them classmates once again. Joanna always kept a low profile on the campus. Jaden, on the other hand, was patient enough to wait for his crush to grow into a woman. However, when the time was finally right, the incident between Joanna and Bruce shocked the whole report. Luck was not on Jaden's side. What happened next was the wedding of Joanna and Bruce. Their marriage was due to the pressure from the elders of both families, and that was Jaden's biggest regret of his life. Half an hour later, Jaden made it to the hotel. Ads by Pub Future. Joanna had already calmed herself down. Hey, Jai. Joanna greeted Jaden with a faint smile and a cup of coffee. Realizing that Joanna was mentally stable, Jaden breathed a sigh of relief. Joanne, you must protect yourself from their toxic words. Just don't mind them. Let them talk. Time has changed, Joanne. Internet trolls and their words are capable of destroying any man or woman. Damn it. They can even bring down a powerful house or a business empire. You just have to block them. Joanna gave Jaden a helpless look. I can ignore them, but what about my kids? I don't know what to do. She just didn't know how to fight back against such a thing. Jaden stared at Joanna silently for a few seconds before patting her gently on her shoulder. You don't have to do anything. Leave it to me then, he said. If there's anything that you can't handle, you leave it there. I will always be with you. With that, Jaden gave Joanna a big hug. Leaning softly on his chest, Joanna whispered, "Thank you so much, Jai." Jaden had always taken good care of her, and Joanna knew why. Though she was grateful to him, Joanna realized that she must not ruin the man by responding to his feelings. She used to marry another man and carry the man's children. She knew that such a woman would never be accepted by Jaden's traditional family. Besides that, Jaden was a well-known player. He had been good to not only Joanna but also to the other female artists in his company. Joanne, you should rest in the hotel today. Don't show up for the time being. Except for the internet trolls, we also need to be careful with some enthusiastic maniacs. I'm worried about your safety. It's okay. I'll take care of myself. Besides, I have to go to the office today. Today was the day she was about to sign the bet-on agreement with Bruce. If she didn't go to the office, Bruce would have forced her out of the Haynes group. All right then, I'll take you to the office later. Jaden had been doing business in showbiz for years, and his team would know what to do. It was a piece of cake for him to overturn public opinion and change Joanna's image. Thank you. Stop saying that, Joanne. You will never have to thank me. Chapter 14. Bruce left for his office early in the morning. He was going to take care of the business affair first before going back to the game with Joanna. Inside the conference room, all executives of the Everett Corp were sitting tightly with grim expressions on their faces. Due to Bruce's short temper, whenever he was in a meeting, no one dared to slack off at all. The next second, the conference room door cracked open. Bruce strode in with his neat suit and a cold look on his face. Good morning, Mr. Everett. Let's get started. Bruce stopped at the end of the long conference table and sat down. His secretary turned on the projector in a hurry and then served him a cup of hot coffee. One after another, the executives also turned on their laptops, ready to take notes. We'll focus on 3 aspects today, and Bruce was saying as he opened his laptop, but his voice broke the next second. For as soon as he opened his laptop, a picture popped out. Moreover, his laptop was connected to the projector. So everyone in the room was now staring at a naked picture of a man on the big screen. What the hell? The executives exchanged shocked looks, and some of them were so shocked that they spat out mouthfuls of coffee. Bruce's murderous eyes were wide open. All because he was looking at his own face on a naked body. In the picture, he was posing as if he was some kind of a 50-cent stripper. One hand on his waist, the other slapping his butt. Bruce was blowing everyone a kiss. It was obviously a product of Photoshop. Still, it did not stop Bruce's blood pressure from rising. He was hitting the off button madly, hacking into his own laptop and messing with him like that. At this point, Bruce would kill to find out who it was. Yet the prank was not finished. Just then, tons of memes popped up on the big screen. And they were all about Bruce. In one of them, Bruce was even holding his thing and wiggling. The jaws of the executives all fell to the floor. They hurried to bury their heads low, pretending that they had seen nothing. They knew how terrible Mr. Everett could get when he was in a rage. But it was so hard to hold back the laughter that they were all shaking slightly in their seats. If they were being honest, they were happy to see this happen. This little prank had avenged their mistreatment brought by Bruce, and it felt good. Who the hell did this? Snapped Bruce, pounding on the table. Standing aside, his secretary turned deadly pale. We must have been hacked. I'll check the IP address right away. Bruce's face was so livid. Whoever planned this low-level prank on him must not be spared. In fact, as the leading enterprise in the whole Greyport, the Everett Corp possessed the most high-end facilities. How could it be so easy to be broken into? Bruce thought, damn it, it doesn't matter. It proved that my technical staff is useless. Soon, the IP address was traced down. And it appeared to be coming from the Hilbert Hotel. Bruce looked at the IP address, frowning. The next second, he thought of something. Wasn't Joanna Haynes living at the Hilbert Hotel right now? She must have something to do with this. That bitch, Bruce thought to himself, she can't defeat me in the real world. So she decided to humiliate me with these. Bruce gritted his teeth as his face darkened even more. Andy, have you got the papers? About the bet on agreement. With a serious look on his face, Andy quickly handed over the papers. All done, Mr. Everett. Here they are. Bruce took it over and had a brief look. The terms turned out to be extremely harsh on Joanna. Bruce smiled with satisfaction. Perfect. I want to watch that bitch bum. It was 9 a.m. in the morning right now. Escorted by Jaden, Joanna arrived at the Haynes Tower. The parking lot downstairs was crawling with reporters and a crowd of protesters hired by Ingrid. There she is. One of them called out. Get out of Greyport, you cheeky whore. You are a disgrace to all the people of Greyport. Shame on you. Then it was the reporters. Joanna, are you going to kick your father off the board? Are you going to monopolize the Haynes ads by Pub Future? Family Fortune. Make way. Please, Joanna, say something. When did you and Mr. Grimm get together? Does Mr. Everett know about your relationship? Jaden stretched out to protect Joanna as they were striding to the building. More than a dozen bodyguards were blocking the crowd. Throw something on her. Show her what will happen when she hits on the other's men. The next second, it rained. Rotten fruit, lunch boxes, water bottles, and all the other craps were coming at Joanna like a storm. Hey, stop that. Joanna's bodyguards were shouting. We'll call the cops if you don't stop. Finally, with Jaden on her side, Joanna made it to the elevator. They hurried to get inside. Pale-faced and shivering slightly, Joanna stared blankly at the space. Jaden clung to her shoulder and whispered in his softest voice, "It's okay, Joanne, don't be afraid. Don't ever pay any attention to these people. They are nothing but hired guns." "I'm fine, Jay," preoccupied Joanna replied, the color drained from her lips. The elevator door was about to close when suddenly, someone held it, and the elevator door slowly opened again. Bruce stepped into the elevator with his long legs and his livid face. Apparently he didn't avoid being harassed by the reporters either. Only after then did Bruce notice Joanna and Jaden. At the moment, Jaden's arms were surrounding Joanna's shoulder. They looked like a sweet, intimate, and perfect couple. Almost at the same time when Bruce saw the scene, he became the grimmest one could possibly see, and there was certain Indescribable brutality in Chapter 15. It. Joanna Haynes. What do you think you have done? You think your little prank will work everything out? Joanna frowned deeply as she stared at Bruce with her puzzled eyes. What are you talking about? Bruce sneered at her. Yeah, like you don't know. Nice try. You know what? I could charge you for stealing information from the Everett Corp right now. That's enough to put you behind bars for 8 to 10 years. Joanna's face fell. She looked at Bruce in confusion and asked, I don't understand any of that. You are going to charge me for what? In a huff, Bruce grabbed Joanna by the jaw. For trespassing. For hacking into my properties. For stealing my business information. This irritated Jaden at once. He pushed Bruce away and spoke up in his coldest tone. I'm warning you, Bruce Everett. Don't touch Joanne. I don't want to fight you in front of Joanna. Bruce shook Jaden's hand off. How dare you meddle in my personal affair with her? Jay, there's no need to act like his kind, said Joanna in a hurry and stood between them, blocking Jaden with her own body. Bruce had a bad temper, and he had been practicing boxing ever since he was a kid. Jaden would suffer for sure if it got physical. Just listen to me, Bruce Everett. I simply don't know what you are talking about. Are you being serious right now? Fine. Take a look at this IP address and say you don't know again. Have you forgotten what you've done? Bruce took out his cell phone and showed Joanna a picture of the numbers. Joanna took a glance, but she was still confused. What the hell is this? What exactly are you trying to say? Ding! The elevator arrived at the floor where the conference room was. Bruce took a deep breath. Then after the cold snort, he walked out without looking back. I'll be here, waiting for you, okay? Said Jaden. No, Jay, don't worry. I can handle it. You have your own things to do. Don't worry about me. Alright then, I'll pick you up when I'm done with work. Yeah, bye. With that, Joanna turned to the conference room with her war face. Inside the conference room, Bruce was laying back on the main chair of the conference room, smoking a cigarette. As soon as Joanna walked in, he threw a stack of papers on the desk. Here's everything. You can take a look. If there's no problem, sign it. Joanna choked on the smoke and coughed. Smoking is not allowed here in the office. Go to the rooftop or the smoking chamber. Bruce only sneered. Then with a wicked smile, he took a deep puff of his cigarette and blew all the smoke on Joanna's face. Taking a deep breath, Joanna picked up the contract and went through it. This agreement was extremely strict, and the terms in it were completely overbearing. Given the current state of the Haynes Group, it was barely possible to complete the contract in 3 years. This is unfair. If you are afraid of signing it, just say so. Joanna gritted her teeth with hatred. Bruce Everett, you are going too far. Be a man, will you? Yeah, replied Bruce. I'm just annoying, alright. He slumped back in his chair, puffing on his cigarette, looking unconcerned. If you are too scared to sign, just quit the Haynes Group. His arrogant look made Joanna's insides burn with rage. However, she was not a quitter, not then, and certainly not now. The terms were unreasonable, but if she could finish the task, she could kick Bruce out of the Haynes Group for good. Fine, I'll sign it. Joanna signed her name on the contract without hesitation. Then she tossed it to Bruce. Here, what about now? Bruce smiled devilishly and let out one last puff of smoke. Well, now we wait and see how things are going to end. Women were stupid, especially this one. He just teased her a little, and Joanna couldn't wait to take the bait. Bruce was convinced that Joanna would suffer for sure. I hope you can do it perfectly, said Bruce casually. Otherwise, you are leaving Greeport, and this time, you are not allowed to come back. Joanna took another deep breath before shooting Bruce a cold look. If the contract is completed, you will get out of the Haynes Group. Oh, I'm so scared. I'll keep my eyes wide open to watch you burn. With that, Bruce pressed his cigarette butt on the conference table arrogantly, ready to go. As he walked past Joanna, he was suddenly reminded of the naked photo incident this morning. Anger rose from his inside at once as his thin lips curled into a sneer. Don't ever do childish pranks ever again, said Bruce. And you shrank my size. Was that to imply that I have never satisfied you in bed? Maybe I should have a go with you right now to remind you how big I actually am. Ads by Pub Future. Looking at his defiant and arrogant expression, Joanna trembled uncontrollably with anger and failed to understand what he said. What is the meaning of this? She asked, ice in her voice. Oh, cut it off, Joanna Haynes. Bruce was looking down at her. You just like playing dumb with people, don't you? Never have the guts to admit anything. Ugh, you disgust me. Joanna was so mad that she grabbed his tie and pulled him over violently. I'll admit what I did, but not for some stupid, false accusation. Now, you better explain your fucking self about it. Huh, like it wasn't you who photoshopped my nude photo, said Bruce. What he didn't expect was that being tugged on his tie by her like this gave him an erection. Hence, he didn't break free. Instead, he stepped forward a little and pinned her body against the conference table. It seemed that his body had been missing her. Bruce thought he hated the scheming bitch to the core, but he just couldn't help the physical reaction when he was with Joanna. Joanna took a glance at the nude photo on his phone, and she snorted with a sneer. I'm not that boring. And, if it was me, I would have done the photo much better. Bruce snorted even louder when hearing this. Who knows if you had done lousy work on purpose? After all, you have a record. Isn't that kind of your specialty? Joanna was utterly furious. All these years, he had been torturing her, and he had not felt guilty for once because he thought he was the victim. Well, he was not. He was the villain. I'll tell you one last time. I've never plotted against anyone. I've never managed to sleep with you. I was framed. Believe it or not, I don't care. Bruce leaned over the conference table and trapped her there. It doesn't matter. Roxy and I are getting married soon anyway. And I've been sleeping with you for free for 2 years. No harm done. You shameless bastard. Joanna's heart was torn to pieces by his words, and her whole body couldn't help but tremble with rage. Oh, and do you remember the $100 million I offered? You didn't take it, so I used it to buy Roxy a big diamond ring. He hated Joanna. He hated her schemes, her being tough, and her being noble. The nobler she pretended to be, the more he wanted to stomp on it. Get off me. Joanna shoved Bruce away. Then she grabbed her purse and ran to the bathroom. She was having an anxiety attack. After years of taking antidepressants, her body was overwhelmed. She often had inexplicable tremors. When it got serious, she couldn't even hold a cup. Watching that she was running away, Bruce smirked triumphantly. To deal with such a scheming bitch, one must spit on her and trample on her pride. Inside the bathroom, Joanna opened her bag with shaking hands and pulled out her antidepressants. With tap water, she swallowed down a handful of pills. All these years, she had been relying on pills and work to forget all her worries and pains. 10 minutes later, Joanna had not returned. Bruce was playing the ring on his pinky absent-mindedly, his patience running out. He thought to himself, she's been in there for too long. Is there something wrong with her? Then Bruce strode to the bathroom and banged the door loudly. Aren't you the toughest? If you're crying, come out here. I don't want to miss the pleasure, he said. 10087. Chapter 16. The sarcasm in his tone actually made Joanna so mad and sad that she actually broke into laughter. Yes, I am the strongest. No one can hurt me. Only I can hurt myself. She muttered to the mirror. With her words and the help of the medication, Joanna calmed herself down. Upset and irritated, Bruce pushed the door open. Why do you like to break into the ladies' room so much, Mr. Everett? Frowning, Joanna was looking at him with disdain. It made Bruce's mood even worse. Anger was burning in his pair of blazing dark eyes. Joanna's heart skipped a beat when she noticed the sudden change in the look on his face. Bruce was too dangerous to be alone with. Please step aside. Joanna tried to leave with an indifferent look on her face. However, Bruce was closing in on her, blocking her only way out. Joanna panicked and shouted, "What are you doing? Get out of the way." Bruce's sanity was gone at this moment. Like a wild animal, he forced her back to the sink. Before Joanna could make any response, she was caught in his arms. Her jaw was grabbed, and a vicious kiss bit her lips. Bruce was out of control. These 4 years of separation had tortured him like madness. He tried not to think of Joanna, but she and her body haunted him. Day and night. What are you? Let go. The only thing Bruce wanted to do right now was to conquer Joanna. He was simply an aggressive man. Once someone was targeted by him, it was nearly impossible to get rid of him. Joanna's shirt was ripped open by Bruce, and his hands were touching her body recklessly. Joanna was so scared and humiliated, but she did not forget to fight like hell. Let go of me, no. Me. You understand. You think I don't know what you are doing. Nobody plays hard to get with me. Bruce Everett always gets everything he wants. As he said, the zip on Joanna's skirt was torn apart. However, no matter how hard she fought, pinned to the sink, she was powerless. Horror swallowed her in whole. This man had always been brutal to her, and she knew that Bruce would only stop when she was cracked and broken. When Bruce was about to get what he longed for, the rapid and loud knocks on the door interrupted. Bruce paused, and both of them fell into silence. What a bummer. They heard the door of the conference room pushed open, and there came the clatter of high heels. It was Roxanne. Bruce, are you there? At once, Bruce let go of Joanna. You stay here and don't go anywhere, Bruce ordered as he tidied up his clothes hastily. Then, as if nothing had happened, he walked out of the bathroom. Roxy, what are you doing here? Bruce resumed his elegant demeanor as if nothing had happened. I came to see you. I heard you were going to sign a contract with Joanne. So I decided to stop by, she replied with a sweet smile. Where's Joanne? Isn't she here? Roxanne looked over into the bathroom as she asked. Bruce frowned. The contract is signed. Let's go now, he said, putting his arm around Roxanne's shoulder. That was when Joanna was done straightening her messy hair and stormed out of the bathroom. Ads by Pub Future. She swore at him. Bruce, you are so shameless. Who the hell was he to command her to stay there? She did not care if Roxanne was here or not. In fact, this was better. She could show Roxanne the real nature of Bruce Everett. Anyway, Joanna's disheveled clothes and red eyes told their stories silently. Roxanne turned ghostly white. She knew what had happened back in the bathroom at once. What Roxanne dreaded the most happened at last. Bruce had never fully forgotten Joanna, and she knew it. Bruce, said Roxanne and tried to hide her fury, pretending that she had figured out nothing. Since the contract is signed, let's go then. Roxanne shook the man's arm gently as she was saying. She was not going to allow Bruce to spend too much time with Joanna. Where do you want to go? Bruce asked. Didn't we talk about going to have a try-on wedding dress last night? That was when Bruce remembered it. Oh, sure, we'll go in a minute. Last night, Roxanne and he had a talk, and she wailed like a baby, asking him if he had stopped loving her. They had been dating for 6 years. Even Bruce knew that he could not put off the wedding any longer. So, without realizing what he was doing, Bruce proposed. Joanna looked at the sweet couple, and her heart suddenly twitched with pain. Catching the flash of heartbreak in her eyes, Bruce hugged Roxanne even more tightly. And after the wedding dress, let's go check on the wedding ring, said Bruce. There was a batch of diamonds freshly coming into town recently. Let's go and see if you like any of them. Roxanne was ecstatic. Really? Bruce looked at Roxanne lovingly. I ordered a 24.87 carat pink diamond. You were turning 24, thus I would have given it to you as your birthday gift on August 7th, but it doesn't matter now. This pink diamond is quite precious. It's worth $100 million. Yeah. Bruce was saying that on purpose because both he and Joanna knew that the $100 million was supposed to be hers. Since Joanna thought she was too noble to take his money, she should not blame him for spending it on the woman who took her husband away. Bruce wanted to see Joanna go mad after hearing this. Bruce, you're so sweet. Roxanne was so happy that she stood on tiptoe and gave Bruce a big kiss on the cheek. Sorrow crossed Joanna's eyes as a sharp pain took place in her heart. It was not because of the money. Joanna was turning 24 this year as well, and their birthdays were only 10 days apart. Yet, for all the 24 years, her father only remembered Roxanne's birthday. Happy now, totally. Roxanne gave Bruce a cute smile before turning to Joanna. I don't know if it will bother you, Joanne, but if you're free tomorrow, come to my birthday party. My schedule is full, Joanna replied coldly. A disappointed look appeared on Roxanne's pretty face. Joanne, Daddy was so angry yesterday. He almost had a heart attack. Daddy hasn't been well. Why don't you come home for dinner tonight and pay him a visit? Inviting Joanna back to dinner was a sham. Roxanne's real purpose was to make a formal claim to Joanna that she was the rightful Mrs. Everett. I can't. I have children to take care of. We're a family, Joanne. Let bygones be bygones, please. Joanna's face sank. She was so sick of Roxanne's hypocrisy. You were in my office, and I'm going to work now. If you have nothing else to do, go home. She snapped. Bruce sneered and looked at Joanna wryly. Did I hear you right? Who are you to tell me to go anywhere? Suit yourself then. I'm going to work. Wait, Joanne. Roxanne called out. I want to talk to you. Joanna paused. About what? Bruce, would you mind waiting for me in the corridor? Bruce hesitated for 3 seconds, and then he nodded. Sure. With that, Bruce turned and walked out of the office. As soon as Bruce left, Roxanne's attitude changed instantly. Joanna Haynes, I'm warning you, stay away from Bruce. Stop flirting with him. If you ever hit on him again, I'll teach you a lesson. Joanna sneered and said, Is that what you are going to say to me? Bruce and I are going to get married. So don't even think about it. Joanna said coldly, Are you done? Then get the hell out of here. I'm going to work. Joanna's disdainful look irritated Roxanne at last. Teeth gritted, and she suddenly slapped herself hard in the face. Ouch. What are you doing, Joanne? Frowned. Joanna looked at Roxanne and asked, What are you doing? Roxanne merely sneered. She turned around and slammed her head against the wall. In an instant, her forehead was swollen. Roxanne collapsed weakly on the floor and started moaning, Ouch, it hurts. Don't hit me, Joanne, please. Help. Bruce heard the noise and pushed the door open in a hurry. Then he saw Roxanne lying on the floor and covering her head pitifully. What's going on? Roxanne looked at Joanna in horror and said weakly, Joanne, she hits me. She just hits me. Bruce took a glance at Roxanne's forehead. There was a bruise. It hurts. Roxanne sobbed, looking so poor. That finally convinced Bruce. Joanna Haynes, how could you do that to Roxy? She is your sister. Joanna tried so hard not to roll her eyes. She hit the wall herself, and I never touched her. I had nothing to do with it. Oh, stop it. How can Roxy be so stupid as to run herself into a wall? Fine, fine. What do you want then? Joanna looked at them wearily and with disdain. I want you to apologize to Roxy. Joanna narrowed her eyes at his words. Arms folded, she stared coldly at Bruce and Roxanne. This is no drama show. What's the point of playing such little tricks? She said icily. Roxanne said nothing, but deep down, she was laughing. There were no cameras in the conference room. So even if Joanna was innocent, who would know? Moreover, it did not matter at all what anyone else thought, as long as Bruce believed it. Joanne, I know you hate me and don't want to see me. I'll try not to show up while you are around. I can even forgive you for ads by Pub Future, attacking me, but not my face, cried Roxanne as she turned to Bruce. Oh, no, Bruce, my face. Will I be disfigured? Bruce stole a glance at the wound and relieved her. No, it is just a small cut. It will recover soon. Oh, no, Roxanne wailed. But we are supposed to take wedding photos next month. How can I do that with the wound? Will there be a hideous scar? Bruce frowned a little impatiently. But his voice was still gentle. No, there will not be any scar. Trust me. Then, Bruce turned and fixed his eyes on Joanna. And if there is any scar, even the slightest, Joanna Haynes, I will cut your fact. For it. Oh, for the last time, it's not me. Believe it or not, I'm going to work. You keep up with this, well, whatever this is. Joanna was ready to leave, which made Bruce even more furious. He shouted, Stop. What now? Joanna glared back at Bruce. I want you to apologize to Roxy, said Bruce, no temperature in his cold eyes. It was not that he had to stand up for Roxanne. It was just that Joanna's attitude was so annoying. Joanna sneered. Bruce Everett, you are pathetic, said she, turning to leave. I said stop right there. Bruce yelled like a maniac. What else do you want? Controlled by his temper, Bruce was not going to let her go so easily. "You're not getting out of here until you apologize." And Joanna replied crisply. Bruce sneered. "Apologize to Roxy. If Roxy forgives you, you can go. Or this matter will not end easily. I will make you pay dearly." That was when Roxanne, who was leaning weakly in Bruce's arm, finally managed to squeeze out some tears. "Bruce, forget it. My sister is in a bad mood. She probably just acted on impulse. Don't make things difficult for her." Bruce did not finish. He just looked at Joanna with his blazing eyes. He could not stand Joanna's cold, dismissive attitude towards him. At this moment, her attitude was everything to Bruce. Even if it was just one word, he would let go of this matter. Unfortunately, Joanna still did not appear to be giving in at all. "Last warning, woman. Get down on your knees and apologize. Otherwise, I will find your sons, and they will be sorry for you." Joanna's heart skipped a beat. "All right, I will apologize. Stand up, Roxanne. I'll get down on my knees." "You don't have to, Joanne." "Oh, Bruce, don't be so hard on her." Roxanne had never felt better than this moment. She told Bruce not to make things difficult for Joanna, but her body was more honest. Roxanne had already been on her feet, waiting jauntily for Joanna to kneel. Bruce's heart suddenly ached. He was just trying to humiliate Joanna, to see her get mad and angry. He never really wanted Joanna to kneel in front of another woman. However, she had already agreed. "Joanne, don't get down on your knees. Just say you're sorry, and I'll forgive you. You know me, I never like holding a grudge." Mockery flashed through Roxanne's eyes as she stared at Joanna with pleasure. Neither Bruce nor Roxanne expected what would happen next. While Roxanne was enjoying Joanna's defeat, the latter took off and kicked Roxanne hard right in the stomach. Ouch! Caught off guard, Roxanne stumbled back a few steps and slammed into the wall. Joanna looked back at Bruce indifferently. "See, now, this one is on me." Bruce was enraged completely. "You asked for it, Joanna," he growled. Taken control by rage, Bruce approached Joanne with several steps and reached out to grab her by the neck. He was so tall that Joanna was swallowed by his shadow instantly. Roxanne was crouching on the floor with her hands over her stomach, hoping that Bruce would beat Joanna up for her. Yet the buzzing sound of electricity shocked her once again. Before Bruce could seize Joanna's neck, Joanna had struck first. She took a stun gun out of her pocket and stunned Bruce without hesitation. The powerful electric current went rampaging all over Bruce's body, disabling the man. He nearly passed out. Joanna had been a single mom for years, and safety always came first. That was why she always carried a taper the size of a lighter. Time seemed to freeze for a while. Bruce felt so weak, but luckily, he was strong enough not to pass out on the spot. "How dare you taser me?" Bruce fixed his murderous eyes on Joanna as if a falcon was targeting its prey. Joanna staggered back a little, but still, she managed to calm herself down. It was self-defense. "If you come at me again, I'll call the police." Bruce snorted with angry laughter. "Call the police? Well, go ahead." He was the #1 man in Greyport. To put it bluntly, even the local government needed the support of the Everett family. Even if the police come, they would side with Bruce. "Don't be angry, Bruce. Joanne didn't mean to." Bruce coughed. "It's none of your business. This is between her and me." At first, he did it for Roxanne. While now, he was just taken control by his rage. Joanna called out to the door. Cora, her personal assistant, pushed the door open and came in. "Yes, Ms. Haynes. Call the police immediately. Tell them there's trouble here." "I see. Oh, you've gone too far, Joanna Haynes," Bruce cried. He thought Joanna had just been bluffing. And that made him even angrier with her. Ads by Pub Future. Yes, Bruce was not afraid of cops. He did not want to be bothered at all. Especially now at this critical moment when reporters were still downstairs. If he was taken away by cops, it would affect his reputation. Joanna had completely calmed down. She spoke up again as her tone got harsher. "If you don't mind making a scene, let's go to the police station together. Doctors will know if I had really assaulted Roxanne. If I pushed her, there would definitely be my fingerprints on her dress. Anyhow, We will find out the truth soon. Joanna then turned and looked at Roxanne coldly, taking out a recorder from her pocket. I have a recorder here. It has recorded everything you just said to me. If you don't mind, I'll play it right now so that we can all hear the conversation. Joanna did like to carry a tiny recorder all the time. But it all happened too soon. So, she never had the chance to turn it on. Still, under the circumstances, even though the recorder had recorded nothing, it was enough to protect her. At least, Roxanne would not dare to tell more lies. As expected, Roxanne's face went pale when she heard that. If Bruce heard what she just said to Joanna, then she could kiss goodbye to the innocent maiden image she had maintained for so many years. All her schemes would be ruined in an instant. Forget it, Bruce. I'm fine. See, let's just go look at the wedding dress. Ignoring the pain in her stomach, Roxanne took Bruce's arm. Yet she failed to hide the slight unease in her eyes. Chapter 19. Bruce frowned at Roxanne's nervous reaction, and he realized that things might not be so simple. Why are you so nervous? He asked. I'm not nervous. No, I just don't want to make a big deal out of it, stammered Roxanne as her heart skipped a beat. The next second, she put on her usual innocent look and said, the police officers will have to take us to the police station. That will definitely cost us hours. After all, the wedding dress is what matters, right? Bruce took a deep breath as he stared at Roxanne grimly. Roxy, did you just lie to me? I didn't. Bruce, don't get me wrong. Don't believe any of her words. Joanna would not go easy on Roxanne. You go ahead, she said. When the officers get here, let's go to the station together. And the truth will come out. Roxanne, there are a lot of reporters downstairs. I'm sure if this evidence gets out, people will have their own judgments. After all, that one man is blind and stupid doesn't mean every man and woman is blind and stupid. Driving by the anger, Bruce reached for the recorder in Joanna's hand. He was desperate to hear what exactly Roxanne had said. Stop the nonsense, Joanna. Just give me the recorder. Joanna slipped the recorder back into her pocket, her lips curling into a sneer. You'll get the recorder later when we are all in the police station. The police officers will be here soon. So, what's the rush? Plus, if you destroy the recorder to protect Roxanne, my evidence will be gone. Bruce gritted his teeth and glared at Joanna. He didn't expect that after 4 years, she had become even more scheming. Roxanne's face went deadly pale as if the color was drained from it. Chewing her lips, she looked at Bruce pitifully. Bruce, we should stop this madness. We're getting married, remember. Let's not make a big deal out of it in front of the press. Bruce shook off Roxanne impatiently. He hated the most when women played tricks on him. We're not going to see any wedding dress today. With that, Bruce Strode walked out of the conference room without hesitation. He would not wait for the police to arrive. It would only excite the reporters and give them more stories. Joanna, this is not the end. Roxanne growled. You will pay for this. Then she hurried out to chase Bruce. Bruce, wait for me, Bruce. I didn't say anything to her. You have to believe me. Her voice was heard, and then it trailed off. Down the corridor. They were finally gone. Joanna fell back on her chair. A palpitation attacked her, and her face was ghostly white. Cora pushed the door open and hurried in. She looked at Joanna's pale face and asked with concern, Ms. Haynes, are you okay? Joanna massaged her chest for a while and finally let out a long sigh. I'm fine. Get me a cup of coffee. Yes. Cora answered and went to fetch the coffee at once. Cora had not been with Joanna for long, but she had been very disciplined, and she never asked things she should not know. That was why when Joanna came into the Haynes group, she put Cora by her side immediately. It was lunchtime, and employees were gathering in the break room. They had just finished lunch and were all on their cell phones, browsing for gossip. Wow, is this Ms. Haynes? She is so open. I heard that Ms. Haynes had a quickie with Mr. Everett in the bathroom on her first day here. Well, what's the big deal? It's not her first time. 6 years ago, at the engagement party of Mr. Everett and Roxanne Haynes, Mr. Everett got drunk, and good ole Ms. Haynes crept onto the man's bed and forced him to do her Then she threatened to kill herself. That was why Mr. Everett married her. Really, how could any woman be so shameless? Several new interns were dumbfounded by this shocking news. They were fresh out of college, and they had no clue about such things before. Being young, dumb, and easy to be manipulated, they were all outraged at once. Some of them were even thinking of storming into Joanna's office and spitting in her face right now. Why do you think she did it so well in Chi? She slept her way up. High-level superiors, business partners, and even their clients have all been conquered by her pussy. That woman might look elegant and honorable, but deep down, she is cheaper than a 50-cent whore. A few of Ingrid's closest associates kept saying things like that, spreading rumors all over, trying to ruin Joanna's reputation for good. What such a bitch. And yet, she hooked up with Mr. Grimm again. Oh, poor Mr. Grimm. The interns who were infatuated with Jaden felt so sorry for the man. And that's not all. Exactly, Ems. Haynes isn't just a slut in her private life. She's also ruthless. She disowned all her relatives and was extremely ads by pub future vicious. She kicked Mr. Haynes out of the board of directors without any consideration. Mr. Haynes even had a heart attack for this, I'm told. How could she do that to her own father? Oh, my God, how can this slutty, awful bitch still sit in her chair? Yeah, how does a scheming bitch like that deserve to be chairwoman of the Haynes Group? Well, you can always quit if you want to. I'd like to, but I have a life to live, right? Chapter 20. Oh, by the way, have you heard the rumor? The word is that IIRS are making a big move. What move? They said that a lot of employees are going to be laid off. Oh, no, we're not included, right? Don't worry, if she dares to fire us, we'll go on a strike. But she had been so calm about the comments on the internet. I would have hidden from everyone if I were her. Alright, enough of that. If it gets to Ems Haynes, we'll all be in trouble. Of course, Joanna knew about this. She also knew that it was Ingrid's people who were stirring things up. They were deliberately inciting employees and spreading rumors. However, there was nothing she could do. Not right now. She had to wait for her team to arrive. That was when she got rid of all Ingrid's staff, whatever they cost. Back in the Haynes villa, Mom called out Roxanne, I'm so mad. She came home, kicked off her high heels, took off her coat, and dropped her purse on the floor. Without even changing her clothes, she threw herself on the couch. The maids who followed behind her were hurriedly cleaning up the mess. Get out, Roxanne barked at them, you are annoying me. Sure, right away. The maids quickly left the sitting room. Roxanne was only a gentle lady in front of outsiders. Only when she was with the housemaids, her true nature was revealed. Why are you back so early? Her mother asked, wearing a moisturizing mask. Didn't you go to see the wedding dress with Bruce? Have you picked out the proper one? Ingrid was surprised to see her daughter back so early. Roxanne gritted her teeth angrily. No, she complained. It's been ruined by that bitch Joanna again. Ingrid gasped. She had never expected this. She pulled down the mask at once and asked in a hurry, what the hell happened? Hurry up and tell me. Bruce went to sign the bet-on agreement with that bitch today. I was worried. So, I went over there to check it out. As soon as I arrived, I saw that bitch hitting on Bruce. Oh, I am so mad. Ingrid asked even more frantically, and Roxanne punched the couch angrily before going on, and then I had a fight with Bruce. We were supposed to go to see the wedding dress today, but that bitch Joanna ruined it. She ruined it all. Then with angry tears in her eyes, Roxanne told Ingrid briefly what had happened. She had been waiting for this day for 6 years. And when Bruce finally proposed to her, everything went back to the beginning. Roxanne had no idea how long she would have to wait for the next chance to come. Ingrid's face darkened with disappointment. She lowered her voice. Tell Bruce last night. Roxanne looked at her mother in bewilderment. Do what? She asked. Me. Did you do it with? You're serious. Do what every couple does. Did you sleep with him? What else are you thinking? That was blunt enough for Roxanne to understand. Flushing, she replied, Oh, Mom, why do keep focusing on these things? You You foolish girl, you spent the whole night with Bruce. Ingrid said anxiously. Don't tell me that nothing happened last night. But, it just didn't happen. Roxanne said. Ingrid was even angrier when she heard that. Tell me the truth, Roxy. Did you do it or not? Don't lie to me. Why would I lie to you? Bruce said that he was going to save the best for our wedding night. Ingrid paused a few seconds to consider this information. Then she asked suspiciously, is he bad? In bed? How is that possible? Mom, what are you thinking? Bruce was never a celibate man. Just because he had not slept with Roxanne over the years, it did not mean that he had not been hooking up with others. It was just that the girls whom Bruce hooked up with had never been capable of threatening Roxanne's position. Therefore, Roxanne seldom complained about that. She merely paid no attention. After all, she was Bruce's fiancée. She found it demeaning to be jealous of those cheap whores. Oh, you're so stupid. You can't even handle a single man, said Ingrid, frowning. Do I have to teach you everything? Let's not talk about it right now, Mom. I'm just too annoyed to think any of that. Ingrid narrowed her eyes. That little bitch is a disaster. She cursed fiercely. Don't worry, I'm gonna avenge you. I'll make her famous again.